Hello and welcome to this month's The PropTech panel. I'm Jennifer Harrison and I'm the Vice President of the PropTech Association Australia. We are the peak body for PropTech ventures in Australia. We are by PropTech and for PropTech. At this time of year, we are hosting one of our marquee annual events, which is the PropTech Awards. The PropTech Awards are open until Tuesday, the 9th of May. You must be a member or an associate of the PropTech Association in order to be eligible to enter. And I'm very excited today that I have three winners of our 2021 and 2022 PropTech Awards here with me on the panel. Before I introduce them, in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge that I am on Walla medical ground in Sydney, and I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Now, the theme behind today's panel was to get some of our previous winners of PropTech Awards on to talk about their founder's journey and also to engage with a bit of a double-edged sword. So in the PropTech community, people are often coming up with very innovative, very new technology-enabled solutions. However, when you go to market, you'll find people are still using old-fashioned, maybe not so innovative and not so tech-enabled solutions. Nonetheless, they have a solution to the problem. So I'm curious to explore with the panel today, how do you get that adoption? How do you get those early wins and leverage it from there such that you can actually share the benefit of your technology-enabled solution with the market? It will probably come as absolutely no surprise that at the PropTech Association, we are very committed advocates of the benefit of technology across all stages of the real estate life cycle. And we have three great examples of that on the panel with me here today. So let's meet my guests. My first guest is Rob Coorey, who is a co-founder of Archistar.ai. Last year, Archistar won Most Innovative Scale-Up in the Design, Build and Develop category of the PropTech Awards. Hello, Rob. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Yeah, great. Yeah, happy to be here from Sydney and thanks for having us.
Perfect. Thank you for being with us. My second guest today is Trish Mackie-Smith from inndox. inndox won Most Innovative Startup in the 2021 PropTech Awards in the Properties and Facilities Management category, and Trish won the 2022 PropTech Leader of the Year Award. How are you today, Trish? Thanks so much for being with us.
I'm very well, thanks, Jennifer. Thank you for having me and looking forward to this session.
And where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from Brisbane, Vegas.
I love it. And my third guest today is Mickael, who is a co-founder of PropHero. Last year, PropHero took out Most Innovative Startup in the Consumer PropTech category, and they also won the Best of the Best award in the startup category in our 2022 awards. Hello, Mick. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Jen. Thanks for having me, joining you from Sydney today.
Lovely. All right, Rob, if I can come to you first, can you kick off, please, by telling us, in a nutshell, what does Archistar do? Give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, cool. Well, essentially, we're a platform for property developers to find, assess, design, and also comply with their sites that they try and pick for development. So that's in an elevator pitch. You know, we can give you a half an hour demo and show you every single feature and function.
Pitch, a 10-second, 35-word elevator pitch.
There you go.
Elevator pitch. Thank you for that. And where does the name come from? How did you pick on the name Archistar?
Yeah, so essentially the software was mostly for architects, and it was really assessing designs at the start. So it was basically meant to be like architects and kind of like a star rating. So we kind of clubbed them together to get Archistar.
Lovely. Okay, cool. So a star rating for architects to help them find land that could be
Yeah,
suitable
it was
for
really
property
assessing
development?
their designs. Yes, like basically you'd upload your design, and then we'd assess it against like sunlight and cross ventilation and a whole stack of different environmental factors. So we still do that today, which is why the name's still there. But we do a lot of other things as well now.
Yes.
Sense, yeah.
So if you could start going back to the really early days, how did you get your head around the problem and assess the problem that you set out to solve? And why did you think that technology needed to be the solution?
Yeah, I think in the early days, we started off with a learning academy called the Institute of Digital Design, and essentially we had like a lot of universities and corporates that were using that online learning platform to really upskill in digital skills in the architecture, engineering and construction space. And so we had these really cool, innovative courses on there. But what we found was that a lot of the corporates and medium-sized businesses would come to us and say, "Hey, like, it's great. Like, we love learning about all this stuff, but can you guys have any bandwidth to do some of this stuff for us?" And so we started to see like a lot of really similar requests come through, and worked out that it would make more sense to actually build a platform where, we could enable people to do this themselves, but we would do the heavy lifting of the initial tech build. And then people could just, kind of log in and do what they need to do. So it really kind of came organically from just kind of inbound requests coming in for different features and functions over time.
And when were those early days? What year are we talking about?
Looking at like 2017, 2018, that kind of time frame. Yeah.
Now I'm curious to know, exploring this, is it better to stand out or fit in? Often I see startups try and use the analogy to explain their value proposition and to try to close the understanding gap quickly. So they'll say, we're the Netflix of this, or we're the Spotify of that, or we're the Amazon of something else. I'm wondering, when you were first, probably trying to raise capital, or maybe going out to find those early clients, did you try and use the analogy approach? If you did, what was it, and did it work for you?
Yeah, so we didn't. I think that we're so far removed from many of those different business models that it never made sense for our business to have that analogy. Like, I can see how it's appealing, like if you're the Uber for dentists, or, the Netflix for music creators, or something like that. But I think for our business, like we never really fit into any of those models. So it didn't make sense for us. But I can kind of see a benefit for other businesses if you're kind of like a subset of one of those categories.
So what routes did you choose when you were going to market? How did you find those first clients to get you post revenue and be those early adopters?
Yeah, I think for us, we were quite fortunate that we had the learning business, which we still run today, like that online academy, as a way to kind of springboard into building our own software. So really like kind of leaning into those early requests about, could you do this or could you do that? And then so what we would find is if we did something for like one architect or one engineering company or one property developer, then it wasn't too hard then to go and speak to other ones, say, hey, XYZ is doing this. Like, are you having some similar challenges in your business? Do you want to have a look at this new technology that we've put together? So I really feel like your first one or two or three clients in any kind of industry are the most important, and you really have to overservice them and look after them substantially, because that's a real springboard to kind of growing the business from there. So yeah, customer number one is super important.
So in the early days, it was mostly like one-on-one meetings using the network.
Yeah, and we completely over delivered. Like, whatever we would charge, we would deliver 5 or 10 times the value, even if it didn't make economic sense for us at the time, because you just need that. You really do need those good early case studies. So again, like sometimes people fall into the trap of like, okay, well, you paid for this, you're getting this only. But really for those, and I think as you go on, like, you have to build a sustainable business. But at the start, if you can make it work, it's always recommended to over deliver.
Did you get a lot of objections? And if you did, how did you work to overcome them?
Yeah, I think the funny thing is we were kind of creating a new category and like I said, building some new software that never existed before. Like it wasn't like we were building a CRM improvement over Salesforce. Like, so none of this was really like an incremental improvement of what they already had. It was a complete different process and different way of doing things. So our biggest objection was that people were kind of comfortable with the way they were doing things at the moment and like inertia. That was and it still is our biggest challenge today. Like, it's not like, yeah. So that's something that we always wrestle with as like whenever you're kind of creating a new category or introducing like a brand new type of software into market.
I think that will resonate probably with every founder, and that actually goes to the heart of what I wanted to discuss today. Everyone will already have a solution to the problem. It may not be as good as your solution, it may not be technology enabled, but they'll be like, oh yeah, we've got a team that handles that. They've already got a solution. And so I think sometimes the challenge in going to market is actually a lot more difficult than a lot of founders actually originally estimate.
Yeah, especially like incumbency is always hard to unseat, and sometimes the incumbency can be just a manual process that they're comfortable with, and that works well for them at this stage. So yeah, like I think it's always good to never underestimate the incumbency. Like a lot of people just look at things and go, oh, we're way better than that solution, so you know they'll just move across because ours is better, but not always the case. Like they might be like a 3-year contract, or they might be in a, you know, they might just be really happy with their old clunky, you know, sticky tape solution. So yeah, it can take a while, and quite often longer than you expect to unseat existing solutions or processes that are there.
And change just in and of itself always presents a risk. Changing, you know, governance, changing suppliers is a risk from a corporate perspective.
Yeah, the bigger the business, the harder it is. So again, like the small businesses, like it may be a faster process because I'm like, yeah, we like that. Let's just do it. But you know, once you go to those medium and big size ones, like that's why the sales cycle is generally longer in those ones, and why you have to charge a bit more because of the sales process.
So I'm wondering, how have you changed your go-to-market approach since those very early days? What have you learned works for you, and what have you learned doesn't work for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we still do things like we've kind of evolved and got more efficient over time, but what we generally kind of still have the same kind of 3 go-to-markets as we always have. So we've always had like a digital presence where, you know, we're doing advertising on your social media platforms, on Google, etc., LinkedIn, and then have a way for people to kind of come to us digitally. So that's always been a hallmark of what we've done, like most businesses. And then we've got like we call it the SMB team, like small and medium business team that tackle the small and mid-sized accounts. And then we've always kind of had an enterprise team and government where they're looking after those chunkier contracts with longer lead times. And that model's served us well, like having all 3. And then at various stages in our maturity, like we've had more or less focus in each of the different areas. And, you know, like, so I think it's just, it's kind of adapting to what your strategy is for that 12-month or 24-month period and saying, well, okay, are we going after more, you know, that small end of the market, so we're going to go harder on digital and the SMB space, or are we going for the higher end of the market and it's enterprise and government? I think as a small business ourselves, you can't equally invest everywhere all the time. You know, you can't, as much as you'd like to, like you have to there's always a trade-off with resources and how much you can invest in different areas. So yeah, we've had different kind of focus at different times in our journey.
And have you got any experience of doing any of the big expos, you know, the big kind of convention center events?
Yeah, I think we've as a sponsor, yes, like some of them. We haven't done our own big one yet. Like the biggest we've done is probably like maybe 300 people we had at the Crown. So we had a reasonably large event there. We've done like our sweet spot's about that 200 to 300 kind of person number for our own events at the max. We don't normally go much above that because we still want people to be a bit like intimate and have a good conversation and feel like that. So I feel like it's a whole different level of organization and maturity. Like I feel like you need an events team to kind of go beyond that. Whereas like we all kind of chip in and our marketing team runs our events internally. And then that's why about that 300 mark is where it kind of taps out, where I feel you can do it yourself versus needing to have like either a dedicated team yourself or working with a third party to do those big kind of conference events.
And this might be a plug, but what did it mean to be a winner in last year's Proptech Awards?
Yeah, look, I think it was one of those things where it's kind of like with your peers and the industry. So it's very special to win that kind of award where, you know, you look at the caliber of companies that are also up there and nominated, and yeah, like it's very humbling to be even considered in the same breath as a lot of them that are out there. So we're super excited that we're able to win it. We felt that it's a really good mark of where we are as a business, and yeah, like love being part of the association and being in the mix.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much. We're working very hard at the moment to make this year's Proptech Awards even bigger and better. And I think we've actually released the ticketing details. In fact, I'm very sure we have on emails, and it'll be on social very soon. We have booked the Fullerton Hotel in Sydney's Martin Place. Last year we sold out. We had over 300 people in the room last year. This year we've booked for 500.
Phew.
So
and you've got a great location. The Fullerton's just next to our office here in George Street.
Oh, perfect.
So
there you go.
yeah, cracking spot. We know where to find you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rob. Trish, let's come and have a chat about inndox. So starter question, always the same. In a nutshell, give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, sure. So inndox is all about bringing trust to property transactions. And how do we do this? Well, it's essentially a property management system for owners and tenants. They get provided with inndox from their builder, property developer, or real estate agent. And this enables them to maintain their property. All stakeholders can access critical information. And this helps with buying, selling, leasing, refinancing, rebuilding, whatever you're doing with your property throughout the entire life cycle.
Fantastic. And so where does the name come from?
Okay, it's an unusual name. It's a made-up name, and we deliberately did that because we wanted to trademark it, and we've done that. So that gives us some protection. And inndox means INN, it can stand for accommodation or innovation, and docs is for documents. So it's the, innovation in accommodation of documents.
I love it. That's awesome.
So yeah, that's where it comes from. And also we wanted it to be different so that when someone Google searches it, not all these other, they go searching for something similar, that where we stand out. If you search for inndox, we're the first there, not 30 other similar products or competitors.
Okay. So going back to the early days of inndox, how did you get your head around the problem? How did you assess the problem? And why did you think technology needed to be the solution?
Okay, well, I think it stems back from my background as a property lawyer and then running a building consultancy for over 20 years with my co-founder, who's a builder. And during that time, we saw lots of problems in the industry, and we were trying to solve them. And it really came back to not having information available when you needed it. And a lack of transparency. There were cover-ups, there's corruption, and identified that it was the buyer beware law that was there to protect the seller, not the buyer. There's not much consumer protection for buyers of property. And I thought, how can I do something to improve the situation so that you can trust what you're buying? And so I looked at changing the laws. I petitioned Queensland Parliament back in 2016, and I knew that would be a long, drawn-out process. So then I thought, well, what can we do to bring a centralised platform that people can trust? Let's look at technology. So that's how I thought, yeah, I applied for a accelerator, Proptech Accelerator program, and the concept of inndox to have a centralised platform for all your critical property documents, all in one place, so that it's trusted for any transactions. And inndox was born, and yeah, so we've taken it from there. We've actually executed on the idea so that non-tech founders are now running a tech business quite successfully.
Yeah, it is a little bit curious, or it seems a little bit curious to me, that if you go to buy a car, let's say you buy a second-hand car, you'll get the logbook, you'll have the opportunity to actually ask the owner of that car some questions. You can search government databases to see whether there is any financing that is secure on that car. But when it comes to buying a house or an apartment, which is a much bigger transaction in terms of money, you don't have that opportunity to get the logbook, or there might be a very limited opportunity through your solicitor or conveyancer to ask some questions. And it's a much more significant purchase, not just for the money, but in terms of the roof that is goes over your head.
Absolutely, yes. So that's what's been driving me. We're purpose-led, and we want to make a difference to the industry.
So I'm curious to know, in your early pitch decks or conversations, did you try the analogy? Did you try we're the Uber of this, the Netflix of that, the Amazon of something else?
Not quite. It was more the logbook, as you described it. It sort of resonated with most people to describe it as a digital property logbook. And also that term is actually well known around the world. In fact, in the UK, there's a property logbook association, and we've been invited to join that. So it is a term that's well known, and therefore we did use, inndox is a digital property logbook. Like you have a logbook for your car with all the service history, it passes from owner to owner. But we're more than that. We're digital, and it's it's trust. It's a new way of doing things.
So who were your first clients? Who were your first early adopters to get you to the post-revenue stage?
Yeah, so we initially thought real estate agents would be the way to go. But we had, of course, we went out and spoke to a lot of real estate agents, and then we realised that builders had an obligation to provide information to the property owner at handover, and it's a law. And a lot of builders out there don't know what to hand over, which we discovered. And so we approached builders, but unfortunately builders, they're reluctant to change their ways. They're used to doing what their father or grandfather did before them. So we found that there was a challenge there, but our first customers were the innovative builders and construction companies and property developers.
And how are you going to market to find those builders and property developers? Was it lots of one-on-one and lots of networking?
Well, the first one came about because I got up on stage and presented at an industry event. And I also believe in not going stealth mode, but to be out there and get awareness out there, education. So I was up on stage, and someone in the audience who happened to be a director of a big construction company in South Australia came up to me after the event and said, "I want to use it." So that was so I do recommend accepting all those opportunities to get up on stage, present wherever you can, pitch, constantly, get known.
Yeah, it's interesting what you mentioned there about being in stealth mode. Very occasionally I'll come across a founder at some kind of startup ecosystem event, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm working on something, but I can't really tell you much about it, you know, because we're in stealth mode." And I kind of internally sigh. I think people massively overestimate the chance of someone stealing their idea. And they equally underestimate how hard it is to do what we're talking about now, actually, you know, get your MVP and go to market. You live or die by your execution and your ability to go to market and get adoption, in my opinion.
Yes, that is so true. The hardest part is execution. And once you get over that, then it's marketing and getting real customers and the revenue to keep going.
So how have you refined your go-to-market approach since those early days? Where are you focusing your resources at the moment?
Yeah, okay. Well, we've had some traction with builders, and we have refined our messaging. I believe in always staying in close contact with your customers, listening to them, always getting as much feedback as you can, but do not just go ahead and build something because one or two have said, "I'd like that feature," because you're wasting time and money, and that when you could be generating more revenue from getting more customers. So it's all about refining the product to suit the market, listening to them and what works, what doesn't work for them, because they're everything to you, your customers.
Absolutely. And what did it mean to you to be a winner in 2021 of the best startup in properties and facilities management, and in 2022 to win PropTech Leader of the Year?
Amazing. It was the highlight of my life, quite frankly, and not just for me, but for my team. And to see that recognition for all the hard work, the persistence, and everything that has gone into this, we really appreciate that that's been recognised. And I say to anybody, go for an award, because the value it brings, not just in the exposure of your innovation to others, to bring customers and partners and investors, it's also for your team, and they will, it's a morale boost, and then they will be happy to continue working for you, because for me, it was a team achievement.
Thank you, Trish. Mick, let's come and talk about PropHero. So same question to you as I've kicked off with everyone else. Explain PropHero in a nutshell. Give us your elevator pitch.
Sure. So PropHero is a platform that replaces buyer's agents and property wealth advisors to buy investment properties. So concretely, when you join the PropHero platform, you get assigned a property coach. We'll define your property investment strategy. We will find the absolute best investment properties across the entire country that we've selected with our proprietary data models. Once you find a property that fits your objectives, we'll do all of the work for you to buy this property. So think about conveyancing, getting your home loan, getting your property management, renovation, etc. We'll take care of everything for you. And then over time, you can use the platform will tell you how to continue building your portfolio. So we'll tell you, hey, you've made 200K equity last year. Time to buy your next investment. And we've already found it for you. Or hey, time to refinance this property. We found a better rate for you. Or hey, we found a better insurance, etc. So we are your property wealth creation for life, completely digital and using data to outperform the market.
Love it. So, second question, where does the name PropHero come from?
So before launching PropHero, we interviewed honestly hundreds of people to understand, hey, did you already invest in property? And if not, why? And so many people actually don't invest in property. And what we kept hearing was, oh no, it's too complex, it's too scary, I don't trust real estate agents, I'm worried I will lose my savings, I don't know, and I don't have access to data, and I'm not sure. And we thought, wow, people know that they could do something, but they don't. And what we thought, okay, well, we have to help you reach the stars. And this sentence kept coming back to our ears. Hey, we need to help these people reach the stars. And thought, okay, well, what they need is to become superheroes. And we thought, okay, well, what can we do with it? Okay, so we want people to become property superheroes. And that's how we got to PropHero.
So tell us a little bit more about the challenges and problems that people would face if they're trying to invest in property themselves. And how did you come up with the idea that data and AI and a digital platform could be the solution?
Yeah. So before launching PropHero, I was a consultant at McKinsey, and I was one of the leaders of the data and AI practice. And just like many consultants, I had a little bit of money, but no time. And I wanted to invest my savings across different asset classes, including property. So I hired a traditional buyer's agent, gave her $45,000. And then I realized that everything was based on gut feeling. I was buying where she had been living her entire life, whether or not it was the right place at the right time to invest. It was crazy expensive. And also the entire process took me hundreds of hours. And then I was thinking, oh, well, in my day-to-day job, we are reinventing industries with data and AI and amazing tech platforms. And in real estate, it's still very old school. And then so I thought, wow, it's so complex, so time consuming, and so biased by gut feeling rather than analysis that, wow, this is a problem we have to solve. And so left my job, launched PropHero with the idea that, yeah, we're going to use data and AI to scan the entire market and find the best investment properties. And we will have a beautiful app to make the entire process 99% less time consuming. So that's kind of how we got to the idea of, yeah, we're going to save you time and make you get higher returns.
So in terms of explaining what you do by using an analogy, have you tried the Netflix, Amazon, Uber approach?
So no, I keep saying, okay, I think we are the PropHero of PropHero. The reason being that I feel that in property, there is an element of a human trust component to it. And some US players have tried to go digital only, and many of them have actually failed. And our belief is that it's the combination of the machine and humans that gives the best results in terms of performance, but also in terms of bringing trust and making our clients confident that their investments will indeed outperform. And I don't think there are really tech players that really have this play of human and machine all together. So no, we are the PropHero of PropHero. I haven't found a better analogy.
Yeah, I think it's always a double-edged sword of trying to use the analogy. It can help you for some people to get some grasp of what you do quickly.
Yeah.
But it won't be perfect. It won't be
exactly
right. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword. How did you in the early days get your first clients?
So we did two things. Before launching the company, we ran paid ads to try different value propositions, different messaging. And we just measured how many people clicked. And when they clicked, we just talked to these people on the phone, pitched different value propositions, different ideas, and saw which one actually resonated with them. That was step one. to make sure there was some early sign of product market fit. Then for the first client, and as Robert was saying, we decided to start small and over-deliver to these people. And so we are very transparent on the fact we're an early company, and also very transparent on like why we believed our data models were indeed working and that our process of doing things was actually working. We started small, having one-on-one chats. First few clients, we indeed spent so much time with them and over-delivered like 1,000,000 times. And then what we thought is that, okay, well, making these first happy clients will allow us to learn a lot and also get some like very good feedback, and then have these people refer clients to us. So yeah, one-on-one meetings, chat in cafes, phone calls, Zoom calls, and yeah, and that's how we started in the early days.
Mm-hmm. And so fast forward to today, how have you refined that approach, and where are you spending your marketing resources today?
Yeah, so I think two dimensions to this. One is that now a big acquisition for us is B2B2C partnerships. So typically we are partnering with home loan brokers or wealth planners or wealth managers, and we cross-share clients to each other. And think like if you're a home loan broker, what you want is your clients to buy and to buy great properties, because if they buy great properties, they will build equity and cash to buy the next one. And so it's kind of like a win-win-win relationships. We share clients together. Their clients are super happy. They make great investments and they buy again. So this B2B2C channel is really big for us now. That's one. And the second thing is actually, we believe that the best marketing is no marketing. So the best marketing is just like when your clients are so happy about their investment with you that they say good things about you to their family and friends. And actually, we have like 80% of our clients refer family and friends. So you have like this great like snowball effect of free clients coming in. So we still do online marketing and PR, etc. But actually, yeah, like we really feel that, I mean, we spend much more on improving the customer experience over time than on marketing, because we feel it's like the best bang for buck in the long run.
Mm. And in terms of winning best startup consumer PropTech, and also the best of the best, you were the winner of the overall startup of the year last year at the PropTech Awards. What did that mean to you?
So I think that it was actually a game changer for us in a way that when you're a very early stage company, no one knows about you, and it's hard to build a trust and have the legitimacy to convince people to go with you, right? And actually, well, the day after receiving the awards, we've put them on our website, in our email signatures, and in our sales pitch. We're saying, hey guys, independent people from the industry who know how things work, who have done significant due diligence on us, say, hey, these guys are not too bad. And I think that for us, like massive credibility push, and yeah, and also like an amazing time. Like I think the event was just exceptional last year. Like the atmosphere and the quality of the people and the companies was just like so amazing. So yeah, like amazing time, and yeah, like a massive credibility push for us. Yeah, which was really, really helpful.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. Thank you so much, Mick. If anyone would like to ask a question to the panel, please pop it into the Q&A or the chat, and we'll put those questions to the panel while they are with us live. There will be a recording of this panel shared on Stone & Chalk's YouTube. Stone & Chalk are our event sponsor, and this video will be made available on their YouTube channel in a couple of days' time. While we're waiting to see if there are any questions from the panel, Rob, can I circle back to you, please? I'm wondering, looking back, can you identify a tipping point?
Good question. It's kind of been a really fast kind of growth all the way through. So it feels like the whole kind of last 5-6 years has been a tipping point in general. So but finding it hard to kind of think on the spot of an exact time where that there was a real tipping point left or right. Yeah, I think actually when we first started doing started building our own software, like we used kind of like a hybrid of manual and automated methods. And I think there was a point where we said, look, we're going to go just to full automation. And it was a little bit painful because we knew there was going to be a gap in our revenue while we were building that full automation out. But in hindsight, it's worked out to be the right strategy to kind of, yeah, like sometimes you got to make those tough decisions to say, okay, we know this is the right thing for the business. There might be a bit of short-term pain for 2 or 3 months or so, but in the long term is better. So I think having the guts to make that decision has kind of put us in a good position for the long term.
And how have you funded the business?
So we've been very lucky to have some great investors. Yeah, so we've raised a fair bit of capital now, so that we've raised about $40 million of venture capital. So yeah, but like I think timing's quite lucky with a lot of things in life. So like we were quite lucky to be funded all the way through a really big growth phase in terms of venture capital funding in Australia and globally. And yeah, I do realize like in the last 6-12 months, it's been a lot harder to kind of raise capital. So yeah, I think sometimes it's good timing with a lot of things.
And a question's just come up on the chat, which I think is interesting in that sometimes I hear founders say, oh, it would be so much easier if people just wanted to buy what I've already built. So it's wonderful when customers give you feedback. But if that feedback means you need to add new features to your product, you've now got a decision to make. So a question's come up on the chat. How do you discern what customer feedback is valuable and worth adopting in your business?
Yeah, I think Trish had some good messaging around that as well in her presentation. And I think like if you look at our roadmap and our backlog, you can't jump. It's that big, you can't jump over it. You know, like we've got literally hundreds and hundreds of requests of things that people want. So we just do our best to kind of score them and prioritize them and rank them. But it's a never-ending battle, and there's always people that are disappointed. So yeah, I think it's one of those battles that you never win. I've learned like the backlog's endless and it continues to grow. And so it's really about looking at, okay, what's your team? What's the capacity? Where are they at? What's your priorities of business? What are customers asking for? And I think there's a lot of frameworks online and a lot of science you can put behind it. But in our instance, like we do look at the data, we do look at what customers want, but it does come down to a business decision at the end of the day, which is a bit of data and a bit of gut. Yep.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Rob. Trish,
cool.
Same questions to you. Looking back, can you see a tipping point looking back? How have you funded the business? And how do you balance that line between, responding to customer feedback, but also getting a product to market?
Well, the tipping point for us was definitely during COVID, because that meant that our builder customers, they were our initial customers, got used to having virtual meetings and using their computer. So that was really helpful for us. We could demonstrate our product online, and we could onboard them online, do everything online, and it was acceptable. So that really helped us with getting more customers on board more quickly and efficiently during COVID. So, and also for those businesses that weren't thinking about digitizing, they were suddenly seeing that they actually should and need to look at digitization. So that certainly helped us. And the next question was that
how have you funded the business?
Oh, yes. Well, mainly self-funded, although we have received some investment from VCs and high net worth angels, just for a small stake of equity. So to us, equity is very valuable. And we've also raised from government grants. And apart from that, we've bootstrapped and also from revenue. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you walk that line between discerning what customer feedback is valuable? And someone's kind of put a similar question now in the Q&A saying, how do you prioritize? Over delivering is great, but there has to be a secret to balancing the expense of building those extra features whilst still getting a product into the market.
Well, for us, we have made that mistake, not only building features that some of our customers asked for, but features that we thought our customers needed. And we've wasted time and money in the past. So we've learned a lot. And really, you have to look at the core product and how many people are asking for that same feature. If it's only a small percentage, you put it on the back burner. But if it's like majority, for sure, you have to investigate further.
And Mick, same questions to you. Can you look back, even though PropHero is only just coming up to 2 years, so it's not looking back over a very long period of time, but can you identify a tipping point?
I think when I look back, indeed, it's only been like 20, 21 months that we've been around. I think the most important moments were linked to people and having the right people at the right time. I think, well, the most important moment in the life of PropHero was finding my co-founder, Pablo, right? A friend of mine and super successful entrepreneur. Like without him, we wouldn't be like 1/10 of where we are today. And then when I look at some key people we have in the company today, these people had just like a massive impact on our growth, on our product, on how we do things. And I think having the maybe the luck to find the right people at the right time has been like the tipping points and allowing us to go to the next stage of PropHero.
And how have you funded the business?
So look, we raised a total of $10 million in 2 rounds. First round was a mix of VC and angels. Second round was just like 6-7 months ago with like big global VCs. And also I mean, our business model is profitable. So actually, revenue and contribution margins fund I mean, all of our operations and cost of acquisition. We raise money mostly to fund the tech build and the international expansion.
And actually, someone's put a question in the chat now, actually asking the question, as a non-technical founder, how do you find the right, technology resources to get your MVP to market?
So I mean, my background is in data, but not in product. I think that if you're not a technical person, like it's indeed really hard at the beginning. My advice would be kind of like twofold. So one, even without being a product, try your business ideas with families and friends, but more importantly, with the people who are going to pay for it one day, right? And really understand their pain points and understand how you can be like 10x better than them. Then on how to build your MVP. What we did at the beginning is that we used a low-code agency. So we've got like technologies like Bubble, so like low-code that allow you to build a platform 5 times faster and like saving like 5x the money. So even with a few tens of thousands of dollars, you can actually build a low-code MVP. You will probably throw it to the bin in 1 or 2 years, but it doesn't matter. You will learn so much and so fast that it can actually work. And also, like anyway, if you don't have a technical co-founder, some of these agencies are just like really, really good just to test something at a very limited cost. That's what we did, worked really well. And then we had the legitimacy to like learn from the market and then raise money and then find an amazing CTO. And yeah, so that was our path, which I think worked pretty well.
Phenomenal. And last question, and I'll circle back, Rob and Trish, to you as well. Mick, are you able to give us a bit of a sneak peek? What is coming up on the PropHero roadmap?
Oh, many things. So we are going to launch a freemium version of our app that will allow anyone to connect any property you may own around the world to see how your wealth is building and what your cash flows are like, and also get personalized data-driven recommendation on how to keep building your portfolio. There's a big thing happening in the next few days. Also, we may launch, we're going to launch new cities in both Australia and Spain, and we may launch a 3rd country relatively soon.
I saw a little teasing post on social media this morning, actually, about what might be the next country PropHero launches in. But thank you so much for joining us, Mick. What's the best way for people to find out more about PropHero and also to connect with you personally?
Mickael.Roger@prophero.com or via LinkedIn. I'm there. I always respond to messages, not very fast, but I always do.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today, Mick. Rob, can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek as to what's coming up on the Archistar roadmap?
Yeah, look, I think we're doing a lot of work in the small business and prosumer end of the market. So we're seeing a lot of features come out for that market where they haven't got big teams to help assess sites. So there's a lot of work happening in that area. And also like North American expansion is a big focus as well for the company at the moment. So yeah, it's keeping us busy.
That sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
And what's the best way for people to find out more about Archistar and also to connect with you personally?
Yeah, sure. LinkedIn's a great way. Love connecting people on there. You know, Archistar.ai is my email, and our website, Archistar.ai, is a wealth of information.
Perfect. And Trish, can you give us a sneak peek as to what's coming up on the inndox roadmap? Sorry, I'm on mute. I'm on mute telling you you're on mute.
Yes, sorry about that. Okay, we are now targeting real estate agents, and now with the seller disclosure laws, there's a bill in Parliament in Queensland. Our platform can help them provide that seller disclosure. And yeah, so we've got real estate agents using our service, and we've partnered with some real estate institute associations, and also we've got a disaster resilience aspect to our product. So yeah, we're keeping busy as well.
Yes, I did note that last year during the terrible northern New South Wales floods. I can only imagine if you're trying to put in an insurance claim to claim a new refrigerator, you know, to claim for certain works. If you don't have the evidence saved somewhere in the cloud to back that up, you're going to run into some challenges and problems potentially in engaging with your insurance company.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And what was the other question?
And what's the best way for people to find out more about inndox and also to connect with you personally?
Oh, yes, just go to our website, inndox.com, so you have an understanding of what we're about, and contact me on LinkedIn or trish@email.com. Would love to hear from you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, look, that has been a fantastic PropTech panel. Thank you so much to Robert Coorey, Trish Mackie-Smith and Mickael Roger for joining. The PropTech Awards are open for entries until Tuesday, the 9th of May. That is the deadline, and you must be a member or associate of the PropTech Association Australia in order to enter. The gala dinner is on July the 19th at the Fullerton Hotel in Martin Place. Ticketing information will be available via all of our normal communication channels. If you don't already, please follow PropTech Association on LinkedIn. Please also subscribe to the newsletter, and you can check out on our website www.proptechassociation.com.au all the information you need about the awards and also all the information about becoming a member or associate. Thank you so much again to my guests for today. Thank you to you for viewing and joining us live. And I look forward to hosting another PropTech panel next month.